Hi everybody, I'm Rebecca from devourdinner.com. Happy Sunday and welcome to my kitchen. I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. Today we are going to focus on some side dish recipes. I know for me as a busy mom, sometimes when I make dinner, I forget all about a side dish. And I really like side dishes. I think it enhances the meal. It helps give some options, especially to those picky eaters. And I want to show you just a couple of our favorite side dishes today on Sizzling Sunday. So welcome. As you join in, please say hello. Let me know where you're from. We're going to take just a moment to make sure our technology is all set up so that you can hear me okay. We are connected and streaming live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And so welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm seeing a thumbs up, so that's good. As you join in, say hello. Hi, Kathy. How are you? Kathy's from Florida. Okay, Kathy just said, sound is good. That's what we love to hear. Now, let me just make sure that we are live over on YouTube, and we are. Perfect. What that means is we can dive into these recipes. Hi, Lisa. How are you? Hi, Sherry. Welcome. Sherry's from Austin. It's so good to be back. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about what I've been up to and the fun that I've been having. But I'm back today with some fun recipes. So the first recipe we're going to work on is an Instant Pot mashed potato. It's just a traditional mashed potato that I've kind of adapted from my husband's recipe. So my husband loves to make mashed potatoes, and he loves to kind of load them up a little bit. And so I'm going to show you that recipe that we make in the Instant Pot. And then I'm going to turn those mashed potatoes into a loaded mashed potato casserole that you'll bake in the oven afterwards. So if you really want to go all out, you can do that as well. Then we'll show you some fun air fryer roasted vegetables and how I elevate those vegetables as well. But let's dive in. Hey, Chris, how are you? Hi, Catherine. Hi, Doreen. Doreen's from Pennsylvania. Wonderful. Okay, let's just jump in. So the first thing that I have already done is I have washed and peeled the potatoes. I've also kind of cut them down. So let me show you what I've done. There we go. So I've just taken the potatoes and I've cut them in slices. So you can kind of see, oh, there we go. There. They're about a little over a ½ inch thick. We're just trying to get them all uniform. And we're gonna place these into our Instant Pot. So let's get the Instant Pot in here. Now I'm doing about 2.5 pounds of potatoes, which was equivalent to about 4 potatoes. For me, these were larger potatoes. We're also going to pour on top just water. Now we want to add enough water that it just covers the potatoes. This recipe will work if you want to do a 5-pound bag of potatoes as well. The timing is the same. You just want to make sure that the potatoes are covered in water. We are going to add some minced garlic. Where's that focus? There it is. So I'm just adding some minced garlic. I want to add just some pepper into the water, and I'm going to add some salt as well. Now we'll add additional salt and pepper when we mix things up, but I always find it's nice to just cook with the salt, with the pepper, with the garlic, because it just helps to give those potatoes some flavor, right? We could stir it, but we don't need to. It's just fine. Everything kind of gets mixed up in the process. When we look at our lid, let's make sure that that sealing ring on the inside is seated. Remember, you're gonna wanna wash it between times when you use your pressure cooker. So make sure that that seal is seated back down correctly. And then we're gonna put our lid on, close the lid, close the pressure valve in back, and we're gonna set this to 8 minutes. So use your plus and minus keys to go to 8 minutes. And it's gonna take a moment, and then it will beep at us. Should happen right about now. There it goes. The beeping just lets us know that the pressure cooker has accepted the time setting that we placed in, and it's going to start heating that bottom element up to heat up the thin liquid inside, which in this case is water. So as that water gets heated up, it will come to a boil. Now that's going to take a little bit of time, right? I always asked, how much time does it take to pressure up the Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker? And the answer is it varies. It varies on what you have in the pot. If items in the pot are frozen, if they're big and thick, those all are variables that need to be taken into account on how long it takes to pressure up. Okay, we don't want to speed up the pressure cooking process because as that water is coming to a boil, it's starting to cook those potatoes. Now the potatoes are all roughly the same size, which is helpful, but it'll take a number of minutes. Then it's going to pressure cook for 8 minutes. After the 8 minutes is completed, we'll hear another beep off the front, and that's to let us know that it's in a natural pressure cooking state. For this recipe, we're going to quick release the pressure, which means we're going to open up the pressure valve and we're going to allow that steam just to shoot up to the ceiling and let all the pressure out, and then we'll open up the lid. So let's get to that point before I confuse you with more steps, because the first thing you want to do is wash and peel your potatoes, chop them up into uniform sizes, and get them in your pressure cooker so that they can start cooking. Fair enough? Kathy says, I love your new highlights. Thank you. Yes, I got my hair done on Friday after I got back from my trip, and we cut it and reshaped it. My hair grows so fast. It's just crazy. And so I'm loving the highlights. I'm loving it all shaped back up. Hi, Amy. How are you? Amy is from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group. So let's welcome Amy. She's got some of her moderators on as well, and I'm so grateful to all of these ladies. They support me wholeheartedly, and I sure appreciate it. If you're hopping over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group, welcome. I'm Rebecca from DevourDinner.com, where I focus on easy-to-make recipes for busy families using common ingredients. I love my Instant Pot. I love my air fryer. I love cooking on the stove top and in the oven as well. I just love being in the kitchen. So these live recipe demos are to help you at home learn more recipes in your Instant Pot and your air fryer, and to help answer your questions. This is a safe spot. There is no silly question. Trust me, when I first started using the Instant Pot, I failed horrifically. And I would have loved a place where I could have asked questions on what the jargon means, or what do I do if I get a burn notice, or how do I solve this problem? And this is the place so that you can learn, so that you can do it at home. So welcome. If you're new here and you haven't watched before, will you say hello in the comments so we can get to know you? We like to see where everybody's from, so it's kind of fun. All right, let's see. Who have I not said hello to? Okay, Kathy says, I do mine medium cut into 4 pieces in a steamer basket with just 1 cup of water for 6 minutes. Perfection. Okay, you can use a steamer basket. I have found over the years that many people don't have the steamer basket, and so they're just not sure what to do, which is why I choose to do the potatoes immersed in water. But yes, using a steamer basket also works. You would just need that 1 cup of water underneath, because in a 6-quart pressure cooker, you need at least 1 cup of thin liquid to help bring the pressure cooker up to pressure. So the only difference would be on a steamer basket, it will come to pressure faster because there's less water in there that it's trying to heat up. That's the only difference. Both works. All right. Mary, hi Mary. Mary says hi from the fires of Texas. Are there lots of fires going on in Texas right now? I'm unaware of that. I have been a little not out of sorts. I've been away from the computer. So as you know, last week I was not live, But I was in Florida for the Princess Half Marathon weekend at Disney World, and I did the 5K. I was only able to walk the 5K because of my shoulder, but I walked the 5K, and I also participated in sunrise yoga in front of the castle, which was amazing. I wasn't able to do all of the yoga, obviously, because I still have very limited use of my arm, but being in front of the castle as the sun was rising was magic. And I've got some pictures for you. So let's hop over and show you some pictures. Hi, Susie. How are you? Susie's from Canada. Welcome. Amy says, yes, biggest in Texas history. They're up in the Panhandle. Oh, I have not heard that. That's crazy with the fires. And they're very bad around Amarillo. Okay, prayers for safety for everybody. We've just had crazy weather the last couple of years with droughts, really dry seasons. I know California's taken huge hits. Oregon has taken a lot. We've had a number of fires in Idaho, but not horrible like in other places. Amy says, stay safe. I'm far from the fires in San Antonio. That's good to hear, Amy. That's great to hear. Okay, let me show you some pictures because I know you guys enjoy the pictures. Okay, here's the first one. So this is me after the race. It is Princess Marathon weekend. So the 5K Princess theme was the Little Mermaid. I have a jacket on. This is the end of the race, but I was dressed up as Flounder as part of the Little Mermaid theme. That was so much fun, just so much fun. And then I also did yoga in front of the castle. We got up super, super, super early. As you can see, I am just like right up at the castle, right up by the castle, which was so much fun to do yoga, all of the things. We just had a wonderful time. And then I also went on a backstage Caring for Giants tour, which was the elephants. So you can kind of see in the background a little bit back over in here. I don't know if you see my mouse or not, the elephants, but have no fear. I brought in another picture of the elephants and you can see the new baby animal or the new baby elephant that was born recently at Animal Kingdom. And it was so much fun to see baby Cora, the elephant. She was frolicking around and having so much fun with the other elephants. She is out on the safari, so you can see her there, but I was able to take that tour and go behind the scenes and learn more about the conservation of elephants and what Disney is doing to help further the species and help them in that way. So it was so much fun, so much fun. All right, we're gonna get some of these photos out of here. Did we get them all? Yep, looks like we got them all. Hi, Dar. Dar's from Saskatchewan. Peggy says, so cute. Mary says, thank you for your prayers. Trava, hello. Peggy says, I hope you're staying safe. Truly, I think we're going to have a rough fire season this year, especially if you're telling me that we've already got fires in Texas. I know here in eastern Idaho, we did not get the snowfall that we normally get. Our ground never even froze, which is super uncommon for us. We did just get a big storm over the weekend that caused a lot of havoc, but unfortunately the weathers then are too warm and so the snowpack melts and we lose the water too quickly. And I think a lot of areas are suffering from that this year, which is horrifically tragic for our farmers, all across the nation, our crops, and we're seeing more fires and more devastation. So everybody, please stay safe this year. Be smart. Be careful if you're camping or have open fires or all those kind of things. Okay, now we've got this going. It's doing its job. Let's talk about making some air fryer roasted vegetables. As a kid, my mom would make vegetables and I just didn't like them. Raise your hand if you can relate. Why is it that we have to become adults before we start liking vegetables? I don't know. I just don't know. So let me move this. All right. I thought I'd go easy today. And by easy, frozen vegetables because I was just realizing when my kids were little, I worked 50 and 60 hours a week. I was running everywhere, zigzagging across town for sporting events and activities on top of working. And one reason why I never took the time to do side dishes was because I was busy and I was exhausted. And please, please, please give me thumbs up if you can relate. Like if you've ever experienced the burnout of parenting and working and trying to balance it all. So I wanted to show you that frozen vegetables can be delicious and are delicious. So this is just from Walmart. This is nothing special. It is just a frozen bag of vegetables. I'm gonna preheat really fast the air fryer. So I'm just setting it to 400 degrees and I'm gonna let it start while I'm doing this, just to kind of get warm in the basket. Now I'm only doing one bag, which is not a ton, but it's perfect for a couple of people. And let's get a top-down view so you can see what I've got going on here. Now, because I've let these sit out, they were frozen and they're not as frozen. So typically when they're frozen, I like to add a little bit of olive oil, right? And then I like to sprinkle with some sort of seasoning. One of my favorite is the Weber roasted garlic and herb seasoning. So let me show it to you right there. So that's what it looks like. How's that? This is an excellent seasoning blend. It is not a fine seasoning, it's more of a coarse seasoning. So let me show you what I mean by that. See how coarse that is? This works really well for seasoning larger things. We put it on hamburgers, we put it on all kinds of stuff, but it really works well on the vegetables. Now, because the vegetables were frozen and have now kind of thawed a little bit, this seasoning will stick to it, okay? So we're just gonna sprinkle, I probably have thrown on there not even a teaspoon's worth. You don't really need much. And then I'm just tossing it. And if you feel you need a little more, just add a little more. Now keep in mind, I typically will drizzle with a little bit of olive oil because the vegetables are frozen. The spices will not stick to it when they're frozen. But when they are thawed a little bit, because there's more moisture, the seasonings will stick. And that's all I do for starters. I love vegetables as they are because I feel like vegetables give a lot of flavor just by themselves. I know for kids, when I would feed them vegetables like broccoli, they wanted a cheese sauce on top, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's simple enough to make a cheese sauce, or just take some grated cheese after they've cooked and throw it on top and pop it back into your air fryer. It works really well. But in the meantime, we're preheating up our air fryer to 400 degrees. We're gonna cook the vegetables for 8 to 10 minutes, but we're gonna shake them halfway through. So about at the 5-minute mark, we're gonna open things up, we're gonna shake the basket and kind of toss those vegetables around a little bit and put them back in. But we're gonna let that just heat, just a little bit more, preheat. Susie says my mom would overcook vegetables like mush. Okay. I kind of think that different generations had different preferences when it came to cooking specific things, vegetables included. I do think now as a whole, as a culture, we don't cook vegetables near like we did 20 years ago or 30 years ago or longer, right? Do you guys agree? Give me the thumbs up if you agree. Because I remember vegetables being very, very mushy growing up as well. I like some texture, I like some crunch, because I think it adds to a dish, right? When we eat, we don't want baby food consistency. We want to have to bite into things, have texture, have taste, have the whole experience. That's part of eating, right? Makes a big difference. Mary says, yes, I understand. Hi, Michelle, how are you? Michelle says, I came in late. Yes, Michelle, I put that tiny elephant picture in the middle of the screen. That was of little Cora. She's only a couple months old at Animal Kingdom. Kind of fun. All right, let me grab the basket. So here's our basket. We're gonna spray it, and I'm just gonna use some avocado spray, and I'm gonna do it over here. And then I'm just going to pour the vegetables in the basket. Now, this was only one small package of vegetables. You could easily do two if you have a larger family. And I'm just kind of spreading them out so that they're just a single layer, okay? Can you guys see that? And then we're just gonna pop it right back in, and we're gonna cook that. There we go. Now, like I said, we're gonna cook this for 8 to 10 minutes, but at the 5-minute mark, we're going to toss those vegetables, just so that they can get kind of roasted on all sides. Frozen vegetables can also be roasted in the oven. You would set your oven to about 375 degrees, put them on a cookie sheet. You're gonna wanna spray that cookie sheet or lay some parchment paper on the cookie sheet. You can even use a silicone baking mat. Put your vegetables down and let them roast as well. That's also another way to cook vegetables fairly quickly. But I do find that air fryer is a little bit faster and just super convenient. Super convenient. All right. I want this spoon. Well, we can get rid of that. Susie says, is your setting on your air fryer or roast or air fry? It's air fry. So I am using a Casserole 5.8 quart. So basically they're 6-quart basket air fryer, and I am just using the regular air fry setting to cook these. Great question. Doreen says, my mom too, awful cooked leftovers to the point of dried out. Yes. You know, I don't know what the reason for it was, but I wonder if just the technology of our ovens, of our stoves, of the pans that we use make a large difference in how things are cooked. I don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to say. Okay. We just get to chat now. So we haven't quite pressured up yet. We're getting close. There's steam coming out of the top of our pressure cooker, so that's good news. We're gonna let it come to pressure, obviously. We have our vegetables in the air fryer, and I do have, let me grab, so this is a recipe for air fry broccoli. Coming soon is an air fryer vegetable recipe like I'm doing now, but the directions are the same. So you can just follow those if you're having questions on how to do vegetables in your air fryer. And like I said, once these come out, you can easily grate some cheese, throw it on top, and put it right back in the air fryer and let that cheese melt over top. A lot of times that makes a difference. For people who don't love vegetables as much, you could make a cheese sauce. You could even do like a honey mustard dipping sauce. You can also toss the vegetables in like some Italian dressing as well. That makes them so yummy and delicious too. Doreen is asking, do I like the Instant Pot Pro? What is the difference? So I am using the Instant Pot Duo Plus 6-quart. That is what I have used for years and years and years. I have not tried any of the newer models, so I don't know. Dar is asking a fantastic question. Thinking of purchasing an air fryer, are they easy to clean? Yes. At least the Casserole 5.8 model is. So after we're done cooking these vegetables, I'm going to show you, I'll just show you and pull it apart. It has a non-stick liner. The basket is non-stick, and then the base is non-stick. So like when I'm cooking chicken or pork tenderloin and the juices drop down, they catch down below, but the basket part comes out super easy, so you can clean the basket and you can clean underneath, which means it's super easy to do. Now, I know different brands are set up a little bit differently, and so you're going to want to look at whatever brand you're looking at on how easy it is to pull apart. Some brands have like a little trivet in the bottom, and you have to pull the trivet out and clean the trivet. So it's just they're all very similar that way. Peggy says, my mom got me to eat veggies by mixing them with mashed potatoes. And I still like them like that. Okay, I was going to suggest, because we're making mashed potatoes, you can easily pull these vegetables out and kind of cut them up, even to be just teeny tiny. Or you can do the bag of mixed veggies that are the really tiny, small square cubes. Kind of dice those up and you can throw them into mashed potatoes, and kids will eat them and not really notice, and it kind of gives a fun orange and green coloring to your mashed potatoes, which is wonderful. Okay, our vegetables, I want you to see the difference. Okay, these have been in there for 5 minutes, okay? And we're just gonna kind of toss those around. Some of my seasonings I just shaked off, so I'm just gonna throw a little bit more on top. And we're just gonna put it right back in. So it's been in for 5 minutes. I'm noticing that around the edges of the broccoli and a little bit on the cauliflower are starting to roast and kind of golden brown, like on the edges. That's normal, because think about it. The broccoli is bigger and it sits up taller, so it's closer to the fans, it's closer to the heat, and so it gets hotter faster. So you're gonna see some of that roasting around the edges, which I love. Kids are gonna look at it and say it's burnt. As adults, we know it's not burnt. Okay, Amy, thank you for piping in. Amy says, my son loves the Pro. You guys, I drank that whole water so far. I get on here and I talk and I get super thirsty. Super thirsty. All right, have I missed any questions? Dar, you're certainly welcome. So let me jump back. If you're new and if you're sitting there and you're listening and you're taking notes and you have questions, this is a safe spot. This is a place where you can ask your questions, and I'm going to answer them live. We have help. Amy is from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group, which is a phenomenal group here within Facebook. It is filled with bloggers such as myself who recipe test recipes. It means their recipes are tried and true. If you're doing their Instant Pot recipe from one of these bloggers, you know that the recipe is going to turn out, which is heaven sent. Amy and her team of moderators do a great job of hopping in there, answering questions, and helping on that group, the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners. Here on these lives, my top fans and Amy and her team jump in and answer questions as well, which is truly heaven sent. If I miss something, which happens once in a while, it does happen. Amy gave the waving note, a waving emoji. I love it. I love it. Okay, let's talk next week. I'm going to be here next week. So I will be live next week with another great recipe. If there's a recipe or a type of recipe that you want to see, put it in the comments. I love hearing what you want to see. It certainly helps me out in when I'm planning and decision making. The following week, which is, I believe, the 17th of March, I will not be here live. I will be at a conference, a blogging conference. It's the typical conference that I go to every March. So I will be gone. Then, Peggy says, the Instant Pot 101 group is awesome. I joined as soon as I got my pot. Yeah, I've been a member of that group since 2018. I think I joined probably the end of 2018 is when I joined. It's a great group. It is fantastic. So Amy says the Pro has handles on the pot and a dial on the front to select different functions. So instead of the push buttons, it's a dial that you'll twist and change. Dar's asking for shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie, I don't have that one on my website. That would have actually been a fun one to do kind of today, where we have the mashed potatoes. Susie says, oh, shepherd's pie sounds great. Kathy says, with St. Patrick's Day approaching, a corned beef and cabbage recipe would be great. Okay, listen. I'm gonna let it all out here. I don't like corned beef. I know you guys all just gasped at home. I am not a corned beef fan. I'm just not. Which means I don't know how to cook it well. Which means it's very hard for me to prepare it. That's my little hidden secret. Which can be tough. Okay, let me show you these vegetables, and then we're gonna put them out into this bowl. Here we go. Can you see how some of the cauliflower is a little roasted around the edges and some of the broccoli is a little roasted around the edges? Everything else is cooked. Now this bowl might be way too big for these vegetables because, again, we just did one small little amount, right? There we go. But do you see, hold on. I want you to see what I'm talking about. Because like this one right here, this piece of broccoli, do you see the edges of the broccoli? They just kind of get a little goldeny, crispy, yummy roasted. They're heaven. Absolute heaven. Okay, I like butter on mine. I'm a little plain Jane, but we could have added a little bit of cheese and thrown them back in there. I am just going to add a little butter on top, a little pat of butter. And because these are hot, this butter is gonna soften up, kind of do its thing. We're just gonna let it sit and let that butter kind of melt, and then I'm gonna toss it into it, and the vegetables are done. The thing that I love about doing vegetables in the air fryer is I literally can throw them in and walk away. Because of course, I'm trying to do 100 other things as I'm getting ready for dinner, right? I'm setting a table, or I'm pulling out plates, or I'm cleaning up the kitchen, or I'm trying to finish up dinner itself. And so I'm pulled in a lot of directions, right? And just doing vegetables this way is super, super simple because you throw them in and you walk away. That's what I love about it. Peggy says, I love corned beef, but I'm Irish. It's in my DNA, I think. Kathy says, I love my broccoli and cauliflower roasted. Doreen says, I never cared for it either, Rebecca. Kathy's laughing. Amy says, I don't either. Peggy says, March 17th is St. Patrick's Day. You guys are awesome. All right, there's our vegetables. We can already see that butter melting. We're gonna toss it all through. Our mashed potatoes have got 3 more minutes, which is perfect because we're going to, when it's done, we'll release the pressure. We're gonna open it up and we're gonna drain off all the water. We're then going to mash the potatoes. Now, if you have a potato masher, that works great. I love to use the potato masher because you can kind of just mash the potatoes, fluff them up, and it's wonderful. Here in Idaho, we believe that mashed potatoes need to have some lumps. We like a little bit of lumps. We like the texture. But I recognize in some places you don't want lumps. You want a nice smooth. So the way to get around that is you can use hand beater or hand mixer to break up and mash the potatoes. However, you have to be careful because if you overmix them with a hand mixer, the potatoes kind of get almost like glue, and you don't want that. A good mashed potato is light and it's fluffy with that moisture into it. And so you want to be careful on how you mash the potatoes. You don't want to over process them with a hand mixer. So do what you can with forks, with spoons, with a potato masher beforehand. You can also use a ricer. So if you have one of the ricers, you can put the potatoes in it and push the potatoes through, and then they kind of come through like little Play-Doh snakes. You know what I'm talking about? That's one way to help mash up the potatoes, so then you can mix in your mix-ins and season up your potatoes. For our mashed potatoes, this is what we're gonna do. Now remember, let me add that link for the mashed potatoes because these are not boring mashed potatoes. My husband likes to add butter, cream cheese, salt and pepper, and some milk or half and half or whipping cream. Okay, you can use whatever you want. We use a combination of whatever we have in the fridge at that time. Today I'm going to use some half and half. And we mix all that up and get the right consistency for the potatoes, right? So with this recipe, you need to be able to do things and adjust as needed because the recipe calls for 2.5 pounds of potatoes. But you're never going to get a perfect 2.5 pounds, right? And it doesn't matter. You can have more. You could do a little less. But if you're going to do a little more, remember you might need a little more milk or you might need a little more butter. Or if you do less than 2.5 pounds of potatoes, you might need a little bit less butter or a little bit less milk. Okay? And it's all easy to just adjust. Now you just heard the beep. We're going to open up the pressure valve. We're going to let that steam out. Remember to move your Instant Pot away from your cabinets, away from your overhead lights. That is a big deal. Now, I want to show you, I want to answer Dar's question on the basket. Okay, here is the basket, right? It is still hot, so I've got to be careful. But on the Casserole 5.8 quart, this basket comes up. Okay, do you see how you can see through the basket? Okay. It has all those holes. The basket is all non-stick. You can spray it with an avocado spray like I did when you throw vegetables in. You can use a parchment paper liner, but those holes are so the air can come up and come through. But it is all non-stick, okay? So I just take a little scrubby brush with some Dawn dish soap and I scrub it out. You can also put it in your dishwasher. Super, super easy to clean. The bottom portion is a basket. You'll notice in the bottom of this basket is lots of that seasoning that I put on the vegetables that then fell through as the vegetables were heating up, okay? Again, this is non-stick. So I will use my same scrubby brush with Dawn dish soap, scrub it out, and I'm done. I choose to hand wash both of these items. I don't put them in my dishwasher, but you can. And that's how easy it is. So for those of you at home, that's what it looks like with the seasonings. If I was doing a steak or chicken or pork tenderloin, there would be a lot of juices in the bottom because all the juices would drop down through the basket and it would catch at the bottom. And then the basket just snaps into place and you can hold it all at once and it goes right in. So really, it's very, very easy to clean. Very easy to clean. Okay, we're gonna jump back to the mashed potatoes. Peggy says, I like some lumps and some skin. I know people who do like a little bit of skin where they'll only peel like 2/3 of their potatoes and leave 1/3 of the potatoes with the skin on so that you have a little bit of that. I know people who will mix the types of potatoes. So they might do a mashed potatoes with the russet, the brown potatoes, and throw in some red potatoes and leave the red skins on. The red skins are a lot more tender than the brown russet potato skins, which is kind of fun. Or you can do like a gold potato. Those are very tender skins as well. And you can leave those on. Oh, I get it. I see it now. Why is that still there? There we go. Kathy, I get it now. How did it get small? That's so funny. The elephant picture is still on the screen. Yeah, I thought I closed that off, but it shrunk down and it was tiny and I didn't see it. That's funny. Doreen says, I have the same Casserole air fryer and I always hand wash as well. Carol says, what brand is that? I missed it. So the air fryer is a Casserole 5.8 quart basket type air fryer. I can show you. See if I can pull it on here. You guys, trying to do things one-handed with my shoulder these days is like such a process. This is what it looks like. We can almost get it all the way on. And so you can see the basket pulls out on the front. The control panel is this portion right here, where you can control all the settings. But that's what it looks like. So it's about a similar size as the other air fryers that I've seen. But that is the Casserole 5.8 quart basket style. Perfect, perfect. Okay, we are letting the pressure out. So what are we gonna add to it? The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna we're gonna drain off all the extra water. So the easiest thing to do to drain the water is to use like a colander and to pour it into. That's the easiest. Unfortunately, I can't lift the liner with all the potatoes and water in it. So I'm just going to scoop out the potatoes and put them in the bowl, is what I'm gonna do. And then we're gonna mash the potatoes. We're gonna add butter. I have some softened cream cheese here that's been sitting out. And then we're gonna add some salt and we're gonna add some pepper and we're gonna add some half and half till we get the right consistency. And that's how we make mashed potatoes in the Instant Pot, which is so simple. The cool thing about this recipe is you can do a whole 5-pound bag, which is perfect for Thanksgiving and the holiday season when you're feeding a lot of people. So you can just buy the 5-pound bag, peel all those potatoes, and they will all fit in your pressure cooker, which is wonderful. So let's get to that step, and then I'm gonna show you what I do to make a loaded mashed potato casserole that is yummy, yummy, delicious. I think we're almost done here. It's starting to sound like it. Perfect. If you haven't given this video a thumbs up, if you haven't given it a heart, please do so. It really helps. And if you have shared this into a group or onto your personal timeline, big hugs from me to you. Thank you. This just lets Facebook know that it's great content and it's worth sharing to other people. And it really helps when I go live. For those of you who send me stars, that's like my tip jar that helps pay for the ingredients that I use as I'm doing these live events. Thank you so much for doing that. Every little bit makes a difference and I appreciate that greatly. So thank you, thank you. Did I miss anybody? Susie says the casserole sounds wonderful. It is, it is. Okay, now remember, your lid has these little notches in it, right? Can you see the little notch? The little notch fits right into the handle so that all the condensation inside runs down and catches in your little cup in the back, which is kind of cool. Now, I am just going to lift these out. I want to drain off as much liquid as possible because I would rather have the milk or the cream added instead of water. But naturally the potatoes have absorbed quite a bit of water. And mashing these potatoes is super easy in this liner because it's a big, tall pot, which is really what I prefer. But again, because of my shoulder, I can't lift the pot with all the water. So we're gonna do it this way. Today, these potatoes, I did weigh them just so I would know. I'm doing about 3 pounds of potatoes, which ended up being 4 larger potatoes. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like. And I think we've gotten most everything out. For those of you that are curious, my shoulder's doing well. I started physical therapy this last week, which is nice. We like that, right? I still am in the sling. I have a doctor's appointment this week, so I'll get to see my surgeon, and we'll get an update from him. Okay, this bowl is a little small. We're gonna make a mess on all sides. I can see it now. So using the Instant Pot where it's the taller liner is super helpful. But we're just making the use of what we have. The good thing is these potatoes really are easy and soft to break apart. As you can see, I haven't had to mash them a whole bunch. And they just break apart. Now, we want to take advantage of the heat, right? So we want to add to it this cream cheese, and we want to get this cream cheese melting with the potatoes. So I'm just breaking up the cream cheese so it'll be easier to mix around. This bowl is definitely too small. We're gonna put in about 1/4 of a cup of butter. And I have kind of cut the butter in little pats, just so that it's easier to break apart. I did. I promise I did. There we go. If we get it down into the potatoes, it will just melt on its own, won't it? There, now that's separated. And then I want to add some pepper and some salt. And then let's add a little bit of half and half. So I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit in here. We will add more based upon the consistency when we get it all mixed together. But we wanna get that butter melted because the butter is also liquid when it melts. That cream cheese also adds to it as well. You guys, this bowl is way too small. I think we need a little more half and half in here. Okay, let's see. My husband is out in the garage. Let's see if he's listening. I hope he is. If you're listening, can you please come inside? I'm gonna have him get me a bigger bowl because we are definitely gonna need it. Well, we might be able to make it work. We might be able to do it if he's not listening. Aha, he was listening. Sunday is bath day for Finn. And so Finn gets bathed in the garage. Don't worry, Finn gets on a grooming table. He gets warm water. He gets spoiled rotten. He's just fine. Yeah, that's what I want. Thank you. All right, there's our mashed potatoes. Oh, they look good. They look so good. Other than I've got a mess all over the counter. Let me clean up my mess of all my potatoes that I threw out. And I want to plate up just some of these. Do I have a little plate? Oh, we'll just use this bigger plate. Might be a little hard to see on this white plate. And we're just gonna put a pat of butter on top because I love a good melty dollop of butter on top. We're gonna add a little more pepper just so that you can see it a little bit. There's our mashed potatoes. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Now, let's make this in casserole style. Are you ready? Okay, let me grab this bowl. All right, I just need a little bit bigger bowl for what I'm doing. We're gonna be adding crumbled bacon. So I have cooked bacon and I cooked it in the oven and I have chopped it up. We're gonna be adding bacon. We're gonna be adding cheese. I'm using a sharp cheddar cheese, a regular like Colby Jack blend. I'm gonna use some green onions that are diced, and you can even add sour cream as well. Oh, that's what I wanna get. Hold on, I got another link for you. If you guys wanna make bacon in the oven, which is easy peasy, and it keeps the grease splatters. You don't have any grease splatters. I just dropped the link on how to make bacon in the oven. That's how I did this earlier today, and it was just so easy. Okay. Now we got our mashed potatoes. And we're gonna put this bowl away. We're gonna clean off our hands and we're gonna start adding in. So I've got green onions. Okay, I've diced these up because we wanna add some green onions. I wanna add some bacon, but I want to leave some bacon to sprinkle on top. So I'm just gonna put in maybe about half of it. This bowl represented 6 slices of thick bacon. So if you're using thin bacon, do like 8 or 9 slices. Unless you're not a bacon fan, then you can do less. But I like bacon and so does my family. I'm gonna do, I don't know, about a half cup, maybe a little more of cheese. And then I need my spoon. We're gonna just stir this up. This is where I start eyeballing it. So I put in about a half of a cup of cheese, which is nice. The first time I added in sharp cheddar, and I like sharp cheddar in this recipe because you can actually taste it. A lot of times cheese just kind of breaks down and you don't get the flavor you're looking for. And so I like the sharp, but I'm also gonna add just some regular Colby Jack cheese too. Now the heat from your mashed potatoes will melt some of that cheese, and that's okay. Totally fine. This is totally optional, but it's delicious. We've already added in 4 ounces of cream cheese into the mashed potatoes, but I like to add a little bit of sour cream. So I've got about 1/4 of a cup of sour cream that we're gonna add as well. And we're just gonna mix that through. Once this is all mixed up, okay? If you want more cheese, add more cheese, but we're gonna add it to the top as well. And so I don't like to overdo in the process. Get your casserole dish. I'm just going to use this one today. I'm going to spray it first. This is an avocado spray, and it just sprayed a little heavy, but that's okay. Now this is going to go into an oven, 350 degree oven. We're just going to smooth that out a little bit, and then we're going to add to the top some cheese. We're going to add bacon. Remember that bacon that we held off with? We're going to add it to the top as well, because everybody wants bacon when they scoop in. They want bacon for sure in their bites, right? I'm a topping girl. And if I feel like someone else got more than me, I want to make sure I get it too. So if I put it on top, then I know that I got it, right? And then you can also do the tops. There we go. The tops of green onions as well. It adds some nice color. This will get popped into the oven, and we're going to cook it for about 20 minutes. There we go. That's what it looks like on top. Doesn't that look fabulous? Absolutely fabulous. It's truly amazing. I'm not going to bake it live because we're already at our hour mark. But I want you to see our mashed potatoes. Look, that butter is all melted. We can go ahead and I can taste the mashed potatoes. I love mashed potatoes. Those are delicious. You can taste the garlic from the potatoes when they were cooking. Those are perfect. These are going to be cooked, and then they're cheesy, ooey gooey. Such a great recipe. This recipe I am working on to get on my site. So if you took notes, then you kind of got the gist of it. But let me just add a little something to help you out for the loaded mashed potatoes. There you go. Susie says sinful. Kathy says the casserole looks yummy. Trisha says, how did you make the bacon? Okay, Trisha, listen, I am going to drop this link for you. This is how I cook bacon in the oven. So I take a cookie sheet and I line it with aluminum foil and I lay out my bacon strips. You can cut them in half, you can keep them straight. You bake it at 400 degrees, you bake it in the oven, you pull it out halfway and you turn the bacon over. You can cook them crispy, you can cook them not crispy, it's whatever you prefer. And then I pull them out, take them off and put them on a paper towel to help drain them. And then I just chop them up. By baking bacon in the oven, you don't get any of the splatter mess. The luxury is because you've lined your baking sheet with aluminum foil, is after the oil cools, it hardens up and then you can fold it all into itself and throw it in the trash and there is no cleanup. Your baking sheet is clean and perfect. It is so, so easy. My favorite way. So there's the link on how to do the bacon. Kathy says, great demo. See you next week. I love it. Let's see. Did I miss any others? Michelle says, someday we need to see Finn. All right, I'll add a picture for next week. He doesn't come back in my studio because he is an indoor dog, but I don't like him when I'm cooking. He's a dog. and he's big. And he doesn't get on furniture, and he doesn't, well, he mostly doesn't jump up. Mostly. Okay, I think I've got all these questions, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So much fun to be a part of the Sizzling Sunday. Like I said, I will be back next Sunday, same time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll do something fun. I'm going to splatter in more side dishes throughout the year because I think it's fun to show you some different options of things that you can do at home to help elevate your meals and realize that it's not that hard to do. All right, everybody, thank you for your love, for your support. I'll be back next week. Have a fantastic week. Stay safe, but remember to be kind. Make somebody smile this week. Do something for somebody. Just be kind. All right, everybody, have a great week. Bye now.